Good morning, my dear students. Welcome to the third session of the grammar class. In the last two sessions, we were discussing about the relevance of grammar as well as some of the basic concepts of grammar. If anyone missed watching those videos, I will request you to do it first before getting into the session, for it is a continuation of the previous sessions. Today, we are dealing with the two other concepts, phrase and clause. Perhaps you have been learning about all these since the time you started learning grammar. Through this video, I try to explain these concepts in its simplified form. Hope you will enjoy this video. Let's begin. Look at the image displayed on the screen. It compares the difference between clause and phrase, or phrase and clause. First of all, let us go in deep in the definition of phrase. Phrase is a small group of words that adds meaning to a sentence. Phrase is a group of words, a small group of words that adds meaning to a sentence. I hope it is clear to you. It's just a small group of words. Second idea. It doesn't contain a subject and a predicate. Phrase is just a small group of words. We already discussed the concept of words. I hope it is clear to you, the concept of words. It is just a small group of words. And what is the speciality of that group of words? That group of words has no subject, no predicate. Third idea regarding the phrase. A phrase cannot stand alone as a simple sentence. We already discussed about the construction of a sentence. A sentence contains a subject and predicate. A sentence contains subject and predicate. Predicate means verb plus object. See here, the feature of phrase cannot be called as a sentence. A phrase cannot be called as a sentence. It is just a small group of words that add something to the sentence. It cannot be called as a sentence, for it has no subject and no predicate. It is just a group of words only that can add some sort of meaning to a sentence, and therefore it cannot stand alone. It always needs the help of some other words if it is in a sentence. For example, in the park, if I say in the park, see here, in the park is a group of words, a small group of words, in the park. If I write in the park, we will feel that it is not complete in sense. Something more needed to give some sort of meaning to in the park. For example, I saw him in the park. In this sentence, I is a subject and the rest of the part, saw him in the park, is part of predicate. That idea we already discussed. But you take I saw him in the park. Here, if you split the sentence into two, I saw him and in the park. Here, I saw him is a sentence which has complete meaning in itself. But in the park, that is incomplete if it stands alone. Now, look at the sentences given here, and by analyzing these sentences, we will come to know the idea more clearly. First one, the boys are playing in the field. Second one, my brother is a good cricketer. And third one, our school library is full of new books. Those colored words are group of words, but they do not make complete sense if they are used alone. It means they depend on other words in a sentence to do so. Such a group of words is known as a phrase. They don't have a subject and a predicate. Now go through the colored words in these sentences. In the first sentence, in the field. In the second sentence, a good cricketer. And in the third sentence, full of new books. I think it is very clear to you. Once again, see these sentences. In the first sentence, the boys are playing in the field. Here, in the field is a group of words, but it cannot stand alone because it has no subject and predicate of its own. It is always depend on the first part of the sentence, that is the boys are playing. Look at the second example. My brother is a good cricketer. Here a good cricketer is a phrase because it has no subject and no predicate. Therefore, it cannot stand alone. It is always depend on the first part of the sentence, that is my brother is. Look at the third example. Our school library is full of new books. In the third example, full of new books is a phrase because it has no subject and no predicate and it cannot stand alone. It always depend on the first part of the sentence, that is our school library is. Now let's see the definition of a clause. A clause is a part of sentence. It contains a subject and predicate and it can stand alone as a simple sentence. A clause is a part of sentence. Like the phrase, a clause is also a part of sentence. Second idea, it contains a subject and predicate. Here is a difference between clause and phrase. A phrase doesn't contain a subject and predicate, but clause contains a subject and predicate. The third point, a clause can stand alone as a simple sentence, unlike the phrase, because phrase cannot stand alone as a simple sentence because a phrase has no subject and no predicate. But clause can stand alone as a simple sentence because it has a subject and predicate of its own. Now, look at the examples given here. The first one, the boy who is smiling is mine. Second one, the girl whom I met yesterday is my friend's sister. Take the colored words here. First one, who is smiling. Take these words, who is smiling. Here, who is a subject and is smiling is part of predicate. And the second sentence, whom I met yesterday. If you take these words here, I is a subject and met yesterday is part of predicate. That means such group of words with its own subject and predicate is known as a clause. A clause is also a group of words, but that group of words has a subject and predicate of its own. But in the case of phrase, even though it's a group of words, it has no subject and no predicate of its own, so that it cannot stand alone. Whereas a clause can stand alone because it has a subject and predicate of its own, therefore it is complete in meaning itself. Let's do an exercise now. Right. If the colored group of words is a phrase or a clause. Let's check. The first one. The man who was walking through the street heard a dog barking. Can you say whether the colored group of words in the first sentence, who was walking through the street, is a phrase or a clause? Of course, it is a clause. The reason is that who was walking through the street, even though it's a group of words, it has a subject and predicate, and it is meaningful in itself. I hope it is clear to you. In the second sentence, the smiling baby made me feel cry. Here, smiling baby is a colored group of words and it is a phrase because it has no subject and no predicate of its own. Take the third example. I saw a peacock with beautiful feathers. Here, with the beautiful feathers is a group of words, but it has no subject and no predicate of its own, so it is a phrase. And the last sentence, although he was severely wounded, the soldier kept fighting till his last breath. In the last example, although he was severely wounded. It's a clause because that particular group of words as a subject and a predicate of its own. I hope you enjoyed today's session and have got a clear understanding of the concept, phrase, and clause. I'm looking forward to hearing your valuable comments and constructive suggestions, which of course will improve the quality of the upcoming videos. So, my dear friends, thank you so much. See you soon.